So good afternoon to you and you're welcome to the program. It's Good Afternoon Ghana. We're going to quickly, within the 1 hour period, analyze what has happened in KUMAWU a day after the by-elections. I think that generally we all appreciate what happened there because it was peaceful. By-elections in Ghana normally has not been so peaceful, you know, but this was, and so we thank Almighty for that. So we will have our guest in the studio with us do the analysis of how the political parties must also accept the results and, you know, what's next for KUMAWU, because there's so many issues in that particular area. Let's go for a breather. When I come back, I'll introduce the guest. Welcome back to Good Afternoon Ghana. Right, I'm in the studio with Prof. Smart SARPONG. He is a senior research fellow at the Kumasi Technical Service University. Yes, thank you for coming. You're welcome. Good afternoon to you. And congratulations on your associate professor movements. Yes. I will. Your mic is off. And I'll say what you said.
Yes, I'm saying you should be starting your PhD. You want to promise me before the general public that you are starting this academic year?
This year?
Yeah. Oh, don't think too much about this.
It's not a promise, but
okay.
I'll try.
Yeah, try.
I'll try to start.
Try.
Yes,
try.
I'll try.
You just have to start.
Right, I hear you. I'll heed to that advice.
Good.
Anyway, so the one of the very controversial winners of the just ended primaries of the NDC is in the studio with me. Young, vibrant, very, well, how should I describe him? Very enthusiastic. Yeah. And I think he encourages a lot of the young people coming up.
He's a hard
EDEM
guy.
Agbana.
Annie, thank you. Well, let me say good afternoon
It's always a privilege to have you, but this one is a special privilege.
Yeah.
Well, I'm honored to be on your platform. I must say that during my campaign, I met a number of delegates who told me that, oh, I've been watching you on Metro TV and all of that, and so your platform also played a key role in my victory. So thank you so much, and thank you to the management of Metro TV, and good afternoon to all our viewers, especially to the constituents of Ketu North. I know they are watching to see what their incoming MP will be saying.
Ketu North is going to be like KUMAWU.
Nice one.
I you know, Monday morning I was on Good Morning Ghana with
Yes.
Ellen and Mago, and Ellen said, "You can shout all you want, you won't win."
Well, yes,
So
KUMAWU
this
is a
one is
strong
like
word.
Edem
Yeah.
Agbana said, you can shout all you want.
Yes.
Ketu North is mine.
Yes, we are actually targeting 85% because in the past, in the past few years, we have seen a trend where our votes have depreciated over the period. Okay. But we are trying to turn the constituency back to green. By turning it green, we mean it's possible for the NDC to get 85% again. We have conducted our research, identified the challenges that led to the depreciation of our votes. And as parliamentary candidate, I'm excited that I will work with the constituency executives, the branch executives, and all the stakeholders to get back to our glory days of winning Ketu North with a massive margin, vote margin. And so that's what we are working towards.
So we will do that with you one-on-one, definitely.
Sure.
I'm sure Henry will arrange that, maybe in the Ketu North constituency itself.
That will be exciting. That will be exciting.
Yes.
We'll be happy to
do
host
that.
you. Yes, we'll be happy to host you.
We'll do that. I see Prof smiling. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'll go with you. It's an interesting place to be.
Right. So, well, this afternoon, the spotlight is on KUMAWU, definitely.
Yes.
Prof, let me start with you quickly. I started a conversation with you on the news.
Yes.
And you said something. You said
Yes.
it was an exaggerated situation, you know, accusing the Electoral Commission for the earlier pink sheet signatures. Why did you say that?
Very well. Thank you so much. And sorry for the disruption in connection on the midday news. I said there was truth in it, But, depending on who is reporting, the truth is exaggerated. One, it was a shared responsibility for the agents as well as the EC to ensure that the right thing is done. It wasn't going to be pushed on the EC only. And I was stressing on the word forced, because my good friend Pablo had said the EC representative had forced the agents to sign. The word forced was for me an exaggerated truth, because yes, I don't know circumstances under which
he was made to sign.
An EC person can force somebody like you or myself to sign. Signature, we don't force people to sign. So I just underlined the word forced, and I felt it makes the whole thing exaggerated. Maybe he used forced
advisedly, because force could be that they give it to you, please sign the paper now before we start. And if you are not well educated, you might think that, well, this is the EC giving me an instruction, so let me sign.
So let me sign, yes. And these are people who...
You may be lost in the moment.
Okay. Then the person too should accept part of the blame. The agents, both the MPP and the NDC agents, should also accept part of the blame, because that was not what they were taught during training ahead of the elections. They were taught to ensure that whatever they are appending their signatures to are actually accurate. So, don't be lost.
Or the final results.
Absolutely. Signatures are endorsement, kind of. So you don't just do it under any... if you are not certain, relax. You have every right to reserve your signature for a while until you are comfortable and ready to sign. So yes, whoever was in charge there as an EC perhaps also didn't do his work well, asking them to sign while voting has even not started. But I am thinking the two agents representing the two major parties should also accept part of the blame and work towards avoiding such an instance next time. Yeah.
Edem, what will be your opening comments on that? And I started that with him on that note because I had an earlier discussion. So let's go straight. You didn't educate your polling agent. I mean, when I saw Ablakwa, I've even posted on my Twitter account that I thought that was interesting, watching a person of his caliber acting as a polling agent. And that probably will help parties if they now pay attention to the people they really put in, to man their boxes or to man their polling stations. So that was a good thing. But in this case, this person obviously lacked a bit of information, education, and, the tenacity to man really the office that has been given to him.
Well, Annie, let me first say we must commend all the polling agents and the executives of the NDC in KUMAWU for the impressive work done yesterday. We lost, but I must say, in terms of confidence, in terms of gains, electoral gains, I must say the NDC was the biggest winner yesterday, because the KUMAWU seat has remained traditionally an MPP stronghold, and so we made gains, significant gains yesterday, and we must appreciate those who were on the field working. I am happy with the point you raised about the quality of polling agents. We had the likes of the Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa and other members of Parliament. We also had lawyers and members of the NDC legal team, members of the NDC professional forum, and all of those people acting as agents. But on 7th December, across the country, you may not be able to have all of those people situated or located in one constituency. And so it is also important to work together with the local agents. So in this situation where the pink sheets were signed before the start of polls, the agent involved, we are told or we are informed, was one of our local agents. Now, speaking to him, this is what I got from the party leadership, that according to him, the election officials asked him to write his name and sign. Now, he knows that pink sheets are signed only after polls, but the explanation they gave him did not indicate that what they were asking him to sign was a pink sheet on which results will be recorded or will later be entered. And so he was asking questions, and when he realized other people were signing, he also signed. And these are petty mistakes that we encounter in elections. But it's a very serious issue. It also it's a lesson for us, and for me, I see it as a dress rehearsal for us as a party, that in your strongholds, probably in the training manual that you use in training your agents, you may not indicate some of these things because they are not things you expect to happen. So maybe we talk to them about how to monitor those who are coming to vote, how to check whether the person is a legitimate electorate and all of that. But maybe we may not have been teaching them things about don't sign any document until after close of polls and what have you. So I think that this was a good dress rehearsal, and I'm happy it was dictated before the start of polls, and then the pink sheet was changed. But again, to the NDC in Ashanti region, these are some of the things that they need to look out for in the 2024 general elections. Maybe there are things that have repeated in the past. Maybe there are things that they have encountered, but because yesterday the spotlight was on KUMAWU, it was easier to identify this as a challenge. And so I was disappointed that the electoral officers asked him to sign or asked him to engage in that act, which clearly was unethical, was illegal for you to sign pink sheets before start of polls. But again, Annie, there's a conversation we must have. And I'm very serious about this issue because I almost became a victim of the negligence of electoral officers. That what kind of training?
It's not a matter of just, it was found out and the pink sheet was changed.
Yes.
It is clearly something that returning officers have been doing.
Exactly.
And it is likely they are going to be doing that more in strongholds
of political parties. Exactly. It's possible. And it's important for us to have a conversation on what kind of training does the Electoral Commission give to its officers, and what instructions do they give them. Now, when they are on the field and they are working, who is monitoring to ensure that the right things are done? Because when you invest so much into elections, when you invest so much money into building your democracy through free and fair elections, it is important for you to put in place checks and measures to ensure that the electoral officers don't create a mess of the situation in any of the polling stations. And so, what kind of training do we give our polling agents? Issues about stamping. Now, you have been trained as an electoral officer. You were told that before you issue out a ballot paper, you must stamp behind it. How come in several elections that we have seen, lots of ballot papers are issued, serial numbers correspond, and yet electoral officers fail to put stamp at the back? It is their responsibility. So their negligence may lead to situations where it may become very difficult to protect the peace that we have as a country. And so we must pay attention also to the kind of training that is offered to these electoral officers, and also to what kind of reporting systems that we have. Now, I would want to propose that for every constituency going into 2024, for every constituency, the EC should, as a matter of urgency, consider establishing a call center of a sort, where when an agent is confronted with a challenge, they can call and seek some clarity as to whether or not that was the best way to resolve whatever issues that comes up at the polling station. Because on election day, when we have over 40,000 polling stations active, the Electoral Commission will be so busy, the media will be so busy, so widespread across the country, monitoring events, monitoring hotspots and what have you, that some of these very important but small issues may be left unattended to, and that may become reasons why political parties will fail to accept or reject results. I think that it's important to ask the Electoral Commission questions about what kind of training they give to their members. How are the members even recruited? How are the agents recruited? Because in 2020, for example, I was then Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC. We had a great cause to worry about the fact that some or many of the agents recruited by the Electoral Commission were recruited through the TESCON machinery. And so you go to the university campuses, and TESCON has a meeting, and on their agenda, recruitment of EC officials for D-Day. And so they used even TESCON as a means to recruit some of their members. Now that electoral officer going to act as the one issuing ballot already has an interest. It is not possible to have electoral officers not having an interest or not aligning to any of the political parties. They usually recruit teachers from our communities, sometimes nurses, graduates, and what have you. All these people, they vote. All these people may have preference when it comes to the two major political parties. TESCON. Yes, so I'm saying that in 2020, we had a great cause when, for many of the campuses, the TESCON members they were recruited. So there was a direct recruitment policy using TESCON members to act as EC officials on the D-Day. But you see, when you have about 40,000 polling stations and the EC is recruiting, let's say, 10 people per polling station, it means they are recruiting close to 400,000 people. It is not possible to have all of them being independent, fair-minded, neutral Ghanaians. And so how they make that, or how they get the recruitment done, is also something that we must ask questions. Is it possible that when you take a district or a particular constituency, we speak to NAT, speak to NAGRAT, and say, because teachers have received some basic training in whatever, they are better at performing this role as electoral officers, so that the recruitment is done in such a local manner that even when I know that this teacher is aligned to the NDC or is aligned to the NPP, I know that he is working with other colleagues of his who may be aligned to my political party, and so there's a system that is put in place to ensure that there is fairness, there is neutrality, and there is independence of the pool. These are issues that we need to consider, because how these election officers are recruited is a big concern. But generally yesterday, I must commend the police for a good work done. I'm one of the biggest critics of the Ghana Police Service. I think that over time, how they conduct themselves during elections has not been very impressive. I have not been impressed with them at all. They mostly take sides when the issues are involving people aligned to a particular political party. The alacrity, the swiftness with which they act is different from when people in the governing party behave and all of that. So I have always been a big critic of the police. But yesterday, I wasn't in KUMAWU, but the report I got from some of our leaders there indicates that there was some higher standard in terms of the professionalism of the police. When they do well, we'll commend them. And if they fail to do well as well, we'll be the same people criticizing them.
Maybe that was because the biggest personalities in both political parties were all there.
Maybe.
So you didn't
it's also a possibility.
Yeah. Yes. You didn't have a reason sending your boys there.
No, but they were there in Ayawa so West, and yet they didn't act professionally.
Well,
all of us were there. I mean,
which is in
all
Greater
the big parties,
Accra.
which is in Greater Accra,
Right.
the media, everybody was here, but they still acted in ways that, for me, violated their professional conduct.
Well, it was
and
under a different leadership.
Maybe. Maybe.
Let me come to Prof. So, Prof, with this issue you're talking about, we already have a very serious issue with the Electoral Commission concerning the latest persons that have been appointed, onto the commission, which I think over time, we, the media, have not really picked up any official response from the government as far as the appointments or those appointments, are concerned. So when you have electoral officers acting this way, you have no choice to think that, and if you're in a political party, worse off, then you are really, really going to believe strongly till to the side that this is unfair. We already have that possibility of maybe more like the NDC rejecting results that will come up because they already are showing mistrust for the Electoral Commission. So how do we approach these issues?
Yeah. So there are two events. One is what we just finished discussing. That is got to do with the EC. The first one is what we just ended discussion on. And there's a second one, allegedly an EC officer seeking to assist an aged woman to vote. We are told, you and I were not there, but we are told the aged woman says, I want number 2.
And then he said, vote number 1. I think we have that on tape. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm saying it because I wasn't there. I cannot.
Yes,
But it happened. It's been captured by the media, and I think it's being investigated. The police assisted the person, the led EC officer, out of that polling station on the instruction of the AC that person be taken away from the place. These two issues, I mean, falls in line with what EDEM was saying, and we all have been saying that the Electoral Commission should try and get beyond reproach. Of course, it's a human institution. 1 or 2 instances of mistakes may occur, but you try as much as possible through your recruitment, through the kind of training you give to your people, try as much as possible to remain very, very neutral and beyond reproach.
But come to think of it, that was so reckless.
Yeah. I don't see, even if it was, in quote, a TESCON member, and you have been trained to perform an independent activity like that, how do you tell somebody who is able to open his mouth and say, give me 2, and you say, no, I'm going to give you 1? It's seriously, if
so serious.
Let the investigation continue. We hope to see how that matter will be addressed. But I mean, like it or not, it is a Ghanaian who one day will be appointed an EC. Like Edem said, everybody would have a place where his choices may fall, given the opportunity. But when you have taken an oath to be neutral and supervise an election, you do not go that way. The Electoral Commission should address this matter seriously. And people are of the view that by-elections are not too necessary, especially when it is in obvious strongholds where we know where the die is going to fall. But, I mean, it is on instant like this that we are picking some of these things that are very, very important, needs to be addressed seriously before we go into 2024. So now we know that if we were not stressing that in training of our agents, we should stress that do not sign any document until elections are over and you are satisfied with the records on it.
You know, he said something that
yes.
during the election, during December 2024, all these advisedly powerful people who found themselves in KUMAWU will possibly not be there because some are MPs themselves. Yeah. And some are the positions they hold. They just cannot be there. So if you are, let's say, in the voter side, that's a stronghold of the NDC, or the Ashanti side, which is the stronghold of the MPP, you can be bullied out. Which, of course, we pick up information that sometimes even the polling agents belonging to opposing parties in strongholds of those parties are bullied out.
Yes,
they will be bullied out. Then they'll bring minors to come and vote. I mean, all kinds of things.
It happens.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how it will be so easy for either of the political parties to keep an eagle eye on the strongholds of the opponents.
Oh, they can. And it has improved relatively, looking at where we started from the early days, 1992 coming. I think there's been a lot of improvement. We just have to keep educating our people. Two sides. The parties must take interest in voter education. We leave it all to a state body like NCC, who will tell you they don't have resources and they end up doing virtually nothing. But then once we are stakeholders, if you're NPP, you're NDC, you should be interested in having electorates educated to the level where some of these, not only your agents, but yeah, we should take interest as political parties. There are two major ones. To enter into the communities, give them some level of education, especially in areas where these things can happen and it will go against you. You must take the lead, if NCC will not do that, to do some level of education. I don't know whether partly the political parties benefit from the level of ignorance when it is exhibited in areas where it favors them. Perhaps that's why they are not commenting. Maybe the NDC will not comment so much about Ashanti region because if the eye opens in Ashanti, it means the eye is going to open in Volta and perhaps it's going to affect them
too.
But, I mean, like it or not, this is an instance where chaos could have erupted. The peace of the area, KUMAWU, could have been disturbed greatly if the big guys were not there to have settled the matter the way they settled it. And, I mean, we should learn going forward. A lot of things should be learned, a lot of lessons should be learned from this KUMAWU, even though it is a simple peaceful. We all are applauding them for the relatively peaceful nature within which all this. A lot of serious lessons have been picked. EDEM was talking about the police. Let us applaud the police. They've done very well, very, very well. I personally saw the IGP himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you didn't know him, you wouldn't know he is the IGP.
Which I know a lot of the police officers don't know him.
Yeah. He makes that office a very simple, peaceful, not too as it used to be. I mean,
IGP. Now he's on the ground. I was telling someone was conducting a research and came to me for some questions, and I told him that exactly what you said. That the difference is so clear that he's made his work. His office is now more approachable. He joins the boys.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this case, he was with the boys.
Yes.
And I saw him and I pulled off the road and I was like, hey, sir, is it you? He said, oh, yeah. Like, I really? Wow. And
so we could have an IGP like this, you know? Yeah.
Seriously, this morning I nearly said something. But, I mean, not to say the previous IGPs had perhaps...
I mean, not looking down on them. They could have made it more flexible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But in terms of the... And this I'm very passionate about in terms of the projects that your government did in the area. So we actually interacted with Global Info Analytics, and they also showed interest a bit in some of the projects that government was doing overnight, you know, in the run-up to this election, and wanted to find out if it was going to influence their votes. And it looked like the score was that, we like it. We like the project. It was going to influence the votes, and it did influence the votes. I mean, I cannot tell specifically, but
it did.
To a long,
it did.
It did, because if you have put up hospitals, and we have a video of the hospital obviously abandoned, and this is simply not political. It is the taxpayers' money, which today we are going to the IMF for more. So we build projects like these and decide to abandon them. And then, well, the people don't really care much. They just care that this is my political party and I like it. If you come to vote, it probably will be the same. You know, I'm not sure how we can educate people, apart from just classroom education, how we can enlighten people to get out of this, NDC
I think it's changing, to be fair. The last elections, I saw the NDC record well over 600,000 votes in the Ashanti region. And in the Volta region, the NPP recorded more than 100,000 votes. And for the first time, they even got one seat. I think that the process is a gradual process. But Annie, in every democracy,
it's really slow.
In every democracy, political parties have their strongholds. Even in the very advanced democracies, when you go to the United States, there are some states that Democrats, no matter what they do, no matter who they have on their ticket, they can never win. Those states will be won by the Republicans. It is same for the Republicans. There are some states that are traditionally for the Republicans, and so regardless of who you have on your ticket as Democrats, those states are not going to vote for you. Then we have some swing regions and states and all that. So they are actually the people that determine the results. So I think that there's nothing wrong having traditional strongholds.
With over 200 years of experience, it happens there.
Yeah, it's still happening everywhere. Everywhere, in every democracy. And that's why even in the last Nigerian elections, even when it appeared at a point that Peter Obi was making inroads and was getting very good numbers, we all kept saying that let's wait for the APC's numbers from the north or from northeast and all of that, because those are traditionally their constituencies. And so we wanted to see what would be the numbers there, to see if those numbers could outweigh the numbers he was getting from the cities and all that. So it's everywhere that political parties do have their traditional strongholds. What I don't appreciate is the fact that sometimes political parties take these strongholds for granted. There was no need for the NPP to do overnight projects in KUMAWU to get the people of KUMAWU to vote for them. They have been in power for how many years? It means that you have the capacity to undertake those projects. It means you appreciate that the people needed those projects, and yet you waited for the member of parliament to die. Then overnight, you moved machines into the constituency, started working on abandoned projects, started giving out rights, started giving money and all of that. I think that it's pathetic, and it's actually an insult to the people. And we must discourage some of these things in politics, because clearly it doesn't speak well of the kind of leadership that we have. It means you are very insensitive. So Annie, let's, right here in this room, in the three of us, I need help from you. You are my leader. You know that you are capable of providing me with the help, but you are not doing anything about it until you get to the point where you are standing for a position. Then you know you need my vote, and so now you are ready to help me. So you move in the machines, you start helping, and all. I think that it's an insult to the electorate, and the NPP must be ashamed for what they did in KUMAWU over the past couple of weeks prior to the elections. I would have wished that the electorate punish them for those acts. So, for example, in Ejura, when in the NDC internal primaries, when I saw the videos of one of our candidates, a woman, yes, doling out money in the air and all of that, I said to somebody that this is alien to the NDC. When the results came and she lost, I wasn't surprised. I don't know her personally. I don't have any personal issue with her. But one thing I know for a fact is that those who are true members of the NDC, they value the tenets of accountability and even respect for them. So even if you want to give the people money, there is a more respectful way of giving them the money. And so when she lost, I said, oh, this, she may have had...
They punished her?
Yeah, they punished her for that. So I was expecting the people of KUMAWU...
Did the party punish her?
I know the party has asked her to come and answer some questions. I don't know the development so far, but I know my party leadership, and they won't take this issue lightly at all.
Up on that.
Yes, you need to follow up, because I know, and if you have somebody like the Honorable Fifi Kwete as your general secretary, I don't know if you have ever encountered him in his office working.
I have.
A no nonsense, very principled, hardliner when it comes to issues of accountability and all of that. And so I know he, together with the national chairman, will take some actions on this. So I was expecting the people of KUMAWU to punish the NPP for the overnight projects. But surprisingly, the report that came from the researchers, Global Info Analytics, most of them said, well, they were going to reward them. They like it. They like the fact that they are bringing. But that also is an indictment on all of us as politicians. The electorates are beginning to realize that the only time,
the bargaining chip,
the only time they can get something of value from us is when it's time for elections. And so when it's time for elections, whether it is internal primaries or general elections, that is the time they make demands. I tell you, look, anytime President Mahama visited any community in 2020 to campaign, when you give the chiefs and the people the opportunity to speak, if they spend 10 minutes speaking, 8 minutes they are making demands. It is same for President Akufo-Addo. So it tells you that everybody, the electors are beginning to feel that let's take advantage of these politicians. When it is time for elections, let's also get what we think we can get from them in exchange for our votes.
Hold on there. Let's spend some few minutes with KWAKU DUAH, who was an independent candidate.
Senior.
Yes, senior. This one is original. Not the photocopy, but the original one. Yeah. So, KWAKU DUAH, thank you for speaking to us here on Good Afternoon, Ghana. You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Right, and congratulations on this race as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, a lot of people are asking why your votes dwindled so much compared to the previous elections.
Anyway, good afternoon to your various viewers and listeners. Yesterday, we saw something unprecedented in the history of Ghana, that in broad daylight, in the open, people chasing voters, handing them money to go and vote for a particular candidate. This vote buying, I mean, if this is where our democracy has taken us, then we have a long way to go as a country. Pretty soon, people with good intentions and good heart that have good things to offer to the community may stay away from politics. Why? Because it's for the highest bidder.
Oh, wow.
They brought loads of money, chasing people, giving it up to them openly to go and vote for a particular candidate. And you know, money sometimes it has power, right? To change people's perspective and change people's minds. And that's what happened yesterday. So the MPP, I mean, after all organizations to change the mindset of our people, they couldn't succeed. But finally, they were able to do it with the vote buying.
So you want to say that you're alleging that the thousands of votes you lost, all of them were bought by the MPP?
First of all, there's lower turnout, and the rest, the major part is due to the vote purchase or the vote buying that took place yesterday. Very shameful. It needs to be condemned, and I think everybody that was around, the media houses, all of them know instances where this vote buying took place. So I think they have to condemn it on any level that they think is appropriate to discourage future occurrences.
Are you a Judas Iscariot of the MPP?
Are you quoting him to me? That guy is funny, you know. I don't want to pay him any mind about those comments that he's been making.
Maybe that also affected you. Those comments affected you.
I don't think so. What affected me is what I've just told you. He brought in one KWAKU DUAH. He didn't do anything. But what affected is when people on their way going to vote and people approach them, hand them money, take and vote for this particular candidate. That is what affected the whole candidate. And throughout the polling stations, it's not just a particular place. Throughout the polling stations, that's what happened.
Wow. That's a serious allegation you're making.
Yes, I am. And I stand by it. I have videos, I have recordings to back it up.
So you also said that, the election in Ghana is becoming like it's for the highest bidder, and it's going to prevent people with good hearts for, development to withdraw. Are you withdrawing? What's next for you? If you look at the people of KUMAWU, they definitely, obviously, need help. Are you still going to go ahead and help, or you're withdrawing totally?
It's too early. I just came out of an election. I need to sit back and reflect, and then take decision from there.
Right. The second KWAKU DUAH, confirm to me, is he your relative, your son, your nephew? What exactly? How do you relate to him?
He's my nephew.
He's your nephew?
Yes.
So do you guys have a good relationship?
Honestly, I got to know about this about 5 or 6 days ago. You know, we have extended family in Bodomasi, where he comes from. So a cousin of mine from KUMAWU here bumped into him and looked at him standing and said, "Are you not the KWAKU DUAH contesting the independent?" And he said yes. And she told him, "You know you are contesting your own uncle." The guy was, according to the reporter, he was shocked to hear that. But that's what happens, when people have no jobs, anything that they throw at them, becomes a bait.
So someone threw it at him?
Absolutely. That's the work of Unjumi.
Want to meet
And no one can deny that. That's Wontumi. That's Wontumi who brought him on the board. The same person who says, me being an independent is a traitor. The same guy goes and brings another person, dressed him in kente, wearing the same name. Unfortunately, the EC at KUMAWU allowed even the symbol to be identical almost. Mine is a dove, a white dove, and his was animated form of a dove. I mean, this one facing left side, that one facing the right side. I mean, how many coincidences can that happen?
Mr. Dia,
Yes.
you have suffered.
What?
I said you have suffered.
Oh, well, but let me tell you something. It's part of, life and the thing that people have to go through, But in what I'm saying, I've taken that as an experience, and I think I'll learn from that.
I'll leave it here. I'm grateful for your time. I'm definitely going to have another one with you pretty shortly, which will be a bit extensive. So for now, we'll end it here. Thank you for your time. KWAKU Duah, senior actually is. I don't know why he wants to use original, but yeah, he was the independent candidate that had his votes dropped from about 11,000, more than 11,000 to about 2,000. I mean, you want to analyze and see what's happening there. But I remember there was a lower voter turnout in the by-election that happened in KUMAWU. Let me take a quick breather. When I come back, I'll come and wrap up with my guests. Welcome back into the studio. Let's wrap up quickly with my guests in the studio. I have Prof with me, Prof Smith, SARPONG, and also EDEM AGBANA, who is the K2 North parliamentary candidate for the NDC with me in the studio. I earlier on spoke with KWAKU Duah, who was senior independent candidate in the KUMAWU constituency. So let me start with you, and then I'll end with
Sure.
Yes, shortly.
Yeah, so we thank the people of KUMAWU. Today our discussion is devoid of anything casualty or disruption because of the conduct they have done. We want to urge all constituencies across the country to emulate some of these things. Sometimes we can agree to disagree. Some of the things that got resolved had to be based on the wisdom of the people who were on the scene. Pablo and the team, very solid, had to just allow some of these things to fly. They didn't make so much noise about it. The EC sometimes accepts it instantly. But
that was a good one on Pablo's side. Yes, I think they really controlled themselves. They didn't make so much drama out of it, even though that was not their stronghold, or someone's stronghold.
That's why it's worth mentioning that I think they conducted themselves very well. The EC also, on the instances where their attention were drawn to those things they call mistakes, also accepted, pulled out. I mean, for general peace to prevail, we thank everybody. The overall effect is that it doesn't look like the independent candidate, your friend, may have any better chance going forward. He wants to take some time and ponder over all that has happened. My advice would have been that it's either he rejoins the party he belongs, or perhaps reorganize the entire concept of independent in a stronghold. We are elsewhere. Major strongholds like that, independent candidates do not actually survive. You may gain the sympathy and win the first time you try based on the exigencies of your coming. But if you dare try the next time in a stronghold, usually you don't survive.
Right. Adam, so maybe even his 2,000, he has done well.
Yeah, I think that he's done well, and let me commend him. I only played with him that he should come and join the NDC, and let's build the Ghana we want together, because clearly he has been betrayed by his party. The party has been unfair to the gentleman, and listen to him speak with so much pain. And I don't think that it's proper for the regional chairman of the NPP to treat him the way he did. And so I will ask him to join the NDC, and let's build Ghana, the Ghana we want together with President Mahama. In my concluding remarks, let me commend the NDC leadership, from national the region and the constituency, and all the members for the great work done. All the MPs who went, the newly elected parliamentary candidates who were on grounds in KUMAWU, everybody did well. They must be commended. The youth wing was seen very visibly on the grounds, led by Pablo and all the others. The national chairman himself was there, general secretary. They did a great work. My plea to the NDC members watching me is that, Annie, when you are going into any election, strategies are not discussed on social media. You don't expect your party leadership to come and announce to you that this is our strategy going into the elections. And so I saw yesterday a number of people writing all sort of things about the party leadership. Look, in that Adabraka office, I was there for 4 good years. If for nothing at all, on Tuesdays, the kind of deep thinking that goes into our fake meetings, we should stop undermining our national officers and behave as though we love the party so much that they don't care about the victory. Look, a lot went into the decision to go into KUMAWU.
Let me pull the brakes here because I think you're getting emotional.
No, I'm just pleading with them. I'm pleading with them because it hurts when you see your leaders work tirelessly and yet you come on social media and people are criticizing even without any basis. Look, if there is any party that should jubilate over yesterday's result, it should be the NDC. We made gains of 1,284 votes, even with the low voter turnout. We made gains of 1,284 votes. The NPP made only a marginal gain of 304 votes, despite all the vote buying, despite all the midnight, overnight projects and all of that. Let's celebrate our party. Let's psych ourselves out for victory in 2024.
NDC parliamentary candidate for K2 North constituency there, EDEM AGBANA. Also, Professor Smart